Elon Musk, the founder and CEO of SpaceX, Tesla, and xAI, along with other companies such as X, formerly Twitter, has in a recent series of X posts suggested that AI computing needs to move into space. In this video, we'll go over his X posts, plus the reaction from the space sector and commentators. First, let's begin with Elon's X post on this topic, which started on the 31st of October. Eric Berger, a space journalist and author, posted on the viability of data centers in space, suggesting it required autonomous construction to make it possible. Elon replied, saying simply scaling up Starlink version 3 satellites, which have high-speed laser links, would work, and then saying SpaceX will do this. On the 2nd of November, he further elaborated on his plan by saying Starship could deliver 100 gigawatts per year to high Earth orbit within 4 to 5 years if SpaceX can solve the other parts of the equation. He is likely referring to chip fabrication as a bottleneck to his plans. He explains that 100 terawatts per year is possible from a lunar base producing solar-powered AI satellites locally and accelerating them to escape velocity with a mass driver. The next day, on the 3rd of November, we learn Elon has done the maths on launching 1 terawatts per year of orbital AI from Earth and realized the moon's resources are required. Then, on the 4th of November, responding to an X post suggesting there are more important things to do than build a city on Mars, Elon replied saying that space habitats require mass transfer from elsewhere and planets do not. He goes on to say a self-sustaining city on the moon is not a bad idea, but not as resilient as Mars due to its proximity to Earth. In a response to an X post on mining lunar resources for silicon to produce solar panels for AI satellites, the poster made the argument a huge amount of oxygen becomes available as a side product that could power Starship fleets to Mars. Elon responds by saying scaling AI is what changes the equation. So, now that SpaceX's plan is to build massive constellations of AI satellites, first by using Earth's resources and later the moon's, the moon could be used to refuel starships heading towards Mars. In response to a post on Tesla's AI-5 chip, Elon mentions that serious AI scaling, something on the K2 scale, that is Kardashev level 2, means using all the available energy from the sun, must of course be done in space. On the 9th of November, Elon says with Starship there is now a clear path to solar-powered AI satellites at massive scale. It's the only path for deployment of 1 terawatt per year of AI. On the 15th of November, he says that it's a hard path to 100 gigawatts per year of AI in space, but that they, meaning SpaceX, Tesla, and xAI engineers, I assume, know what to do. On the 20th of November, we have a longer and the most important post on this topic from Elon explaining his vision for AI compute in space. He says Starship could be able to deliver around 300 gigawatts per year of solar-powered AI satellites to orbit, maybe 500 gigawatts. The per year part is what makes this such a big deal. With average US electricity consumption around 500 gigawatts, AI in space would exceed the entire US economy in intelligence processing every 2 years. Solar cell production is far higher than this already, at around 1,500 gigawatts of annual production capacity. The tonnage to orbit problem is solved with Starship. Therefore, Elon says, the major piece of the puzzle is chip production. The Tesla terafab is needed as no other solution scales sufficiently. While these numbers are large, to really scale, lunar production of solar-powered AI satellites is needed. This takes AI compute to the 100 terawatt per year level. On the 8th of December, just a few days ago, Elon talks about localized AI compute, with only the results beamed back to Earth. The AI satellites will be in low latency sun-synchronous orbits. He says this will be the lowest cost to generate AI bit streams in under 3 years. Easy sources of electrical power are already hard to find on Earth. 1 megaton, that's a million tons, per year of satellites with 100 kilowatts per satellite yields 100 gigawatts of AI added per year with no operating or maintenance cost. These AI satellites will be linked by high bandwidth lasers to the Starlink constellation. To scale to higher levels, it will be necessary to construct satellite factories on the moon and use a mass driver, that is, an electromagnetic railgun, to accelerate AI satellites to lunar escape velocity without the need for rockets. This method scales to over 100 terawatts per year of AI and moves Earth towards a Kardashev 2 civilization, that is, a civilization that uses all the energy from the sun. His most recent relevant X post was today, when he says that SpaceX has way more satellites in orbit than the rest of the world combined, so they know a lot about building and deploying them. He says that the Starlink version 3 will have 20 kilowatts of power and will start to scale around Q4 of 2026. He sees no problem scaling to over 100 kilowatts if the satellite mass is shifted towards solar arrays and radiators for AI compute instead of the giant phased array antennas for internet connectivity. The AI satellites will use the same laser comms as Starlink satellites to connect to the Starlink constellation. An AI satellite is easier, not harder, than the Starlink version 3 design. So, now we've reviewed his X post, let's summarize his vision. Elon's post stemmed from a post by Mark Benioff stating that space is the lowest cost for data centers due to continuous solar power and no cooling needs. Space has an infinite amount of cooling, energy from the sun, and physical space. Musk stated that there are limits to scaling on Earth, the biggest of which is electrical power is hard to find. Without enormous amounts of power, AI models cannot be trained. Elon's position is that space-based AI is inevitable due to the scaling problems on Earth. His companies together have all the necessary technology to make space-based AI computing work. SpaceX to launch the AI solar-powered systems based on the Starlink satellite, Tesla to provide the chips and the fabrication plants, and xAI to provide the AI models to be trained. Let's now look at some of the reactions to his vision for AI satellites in orbit. Online reaction. Patrick O'Shaughnessy on X said, "The most important thing in the next 3 to 4 years is data centers in space. In every way, data centers in space from a first principles perspective are superior to data centers on Earth. In space, you can keep a satellite in the sun 24 hours a day. The sun is 30% more intense, which results in 6 times more irradiance than on Earth, so you don't need a battery. The cooling in these data centers is incredibly complicated. Space cooling is free. You just put a radiator on the dark side of the satellite. The only thing faster than a laser going through a fiber optic cable is a laser going through absolute vacuum. Link satellites with lasers, and you'll have a faster and more coherent network than any data center on Earth." Unquote. Eric Berger, a space journalist writing at Ars Technica, had this to say about SpaceX's plans. SpaceX is planning to go public in 2026 to fund its push into orbiting AI computing. The IPO could provide $30 billion, in addition to the $20 billion plus from Starlink revenue, to finance the massive costs of deploying thousands of AI satellites into orbit and building the chip fabrication plants. Eric reports that once Musk realized Starlink satellites could be architected in such a way they could act as a network data center, replacing the cables between servers with laser optical links between orbiting satellites. Once he realized this, the writing was on the wall. Tripathi, a previous long-term employee of SpaceX, told Ars Technica, "That is the moment an IPO suddenly came into play after being unlikely for so long. If you have followed Elon's tactics, you know that once he commits to something, he leans fully into it. Much of the AI race comes down to amassing and deploying assets that work quicker than your competition. A large war chest resulting from an IPO will greatly help his cause and disadvantage all others." Unquote. Elon is all in on winning the battle for artificial intelligence. xAI and Tesla are already part of that battle. Now he will bring SpaceX into the fray. Taking SpaceX public will unleash a huge amount of capital to ensure SpaceX, Tesla, and xAI emerge as the winners in this global AI showdown. Okay, let's look at the advantages of a distributed network of AI satellites in orbit instead of terrestrial AI data centers. Advantages of orbiting satellites with AI compute capacity. One huge advantage is free and abundant power. In space, the sun is more intense and available nearly continuously depending on the orbit chosen. Elon has already mentioned high Earth orbit as a potential location for his AI satellites. Low operating cost due to free power from the sun and free cooling from the vacuum of space. No permits or environmental planning, no lawsuits or other bureaucracy that you get with Earth-based data centers. Rapid scaling. Elon mentions that 300 to 500 gigawatts per year are possible once Starship is operational. Using the moon's resources and an electromagnetic railgun, over 100 terawatts per year of AI compute can be produced. The problems, such as space debris and radiation, are manageable, and the advantages outweigh the costs. Final thoughts. What do you think of Elon Musk's grand vision of massive fleets of orbiting AI satellites? His plan to build factories on the moon to produce billions of tons of AI chips, solar panels, and spacecraft components, accelerating them off the lunar surface with electromagnetic railguns. Sound sci-fi? But it's Elon Musk we're talking about, so maybe he can pull it off? What do you think? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this space video, consider buying me a coffee to help fund more episodes like this. The link is in the description. Space News Live is on Saturday evening or Sunday morning, depending where you watch from. The live stream is a great way for you to share your thoughts and opinions on the videos I posted this week, or on any space topic in general. I highlight the most thought-provoking comments on videos I've received, along with previews of upcoming content. If you got the time, please tune in and say hi. Be sure to like and subscribe so you'll see our upcoming videos. We make videos every week covering the space industry with an emphasis on the smaller space startups that aren't covered so well on other channels. See you soon.